Using iMIS 20 staff site, managing your business from a browser webinar. Today we have Christine Smith, who's our Director of Business Solutions, presenting the basics of iMIS 20 staff site, the benefits, the pros, the cons. I know iMIS ASI is moving in that direction for their entire platform, so I'm excited to hear what Christine has to say to us. Before we begin, if you have questions, please go ahead and enter those in the questions box within your GoToWebinar toolbar or in the chat session. You can also raise your hand, and if we see your hand raised, we'll go ahead and answer those questions. We'll probably save the questions till the end of the presentation, when Christine is done. We will also be recording today's session and making all of the PowerPoint slides available on the ATS website at www.atsol.org/webinar. That's in the chat box as well. And if you'd like to follow up with us afterward, we can. That information will be provided at the end. I'm going to go ahead and stop talking and let Christine begin with the presentation. So Christine, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you so much, Ben. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ATS staff site presentation. And as Ben said, my name is Christine Smith, and I'm going to be presenting today. For those of you whom I haven't met, I've been working with iMIS for a little over 20 years, which makes me feel very old. And I work out of the ATS DC office, unlike the rest of the guys out in Denver, and Laura, of course. So today I want to show you some of the highlights of the staff site in iMIS 20. I'm going to try to hit on as many features as I can, but as you know as well as I do, that iMIS is just a huge system. So if there's something that you didn't see, that you have questions about, please feel free to bring it up at the end in our Q&A session, and we can try to address it. Okay, now to get my screen to go to the next slide. There we go. Yay! Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? I love the staff site. I feel like my baby's all grown up. Well, almost getting there. Now you can get your iMIS data from a browser as well as see the information more clearly and easily. So we're going to go ahead and take a look. Now I'd like to basically take a look through each module of the staff site, spending more time in some than others. As you see at the top of the navigation bar, the first major component of the system is community. This is basically what we're used to in the desktop iMIS called customers. Fundraising is pretty straightforward, as well as events. The commerce module can be equated pretty much to what you know as orders. There's a new certification module, which is only accessible through this new staff site. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Continuum is new, and we'll have the reports as well as some analytics in it. And RISE is pretty much the engine that runs everything. You're going to find the CMS, IQA, system setup, and some tools in this area. The admin console is being renamed in the upcoming release to be the accounting admin console. Right now it allows you pretty much access to all things that haven't been added to the staff site yet, like gen tables and some event setup and a bunch of other stuff. Once the functionality is put into the staff site, though, this will be just used for accounting. So right now you can set up the admin console to go directly to the old school desktop if you like. And I know that a lot of the longtime users take comfort in this. So no worries, you can still see iMIS in its old form for a while going forward if you choose. So let's start off with the Community tab. The Community tab is what you would use to see all the customer information. One of the coolest things about the new staff site are the dashboards. They come standard out of the box for community, events, commerce, and fundraising. Looking here at the community dashboard, you'll see the out-of-the-box version. You can customize this as you see fit for your organization. This dashboard includes items like the progress tracker iPart, which are starting to be called the dynamic content items. So if you hear me say that, I just basically mean iPart. It's a very cool way to track the progress of your membership as well as your goals. And ASI has tried very hard to transform iMIS into not just a repository of data, but a tool to really help you grow your business. So on this particular iPart, you can change the data by changing the query. And you'll see that when the option appears, you can click on the Easy Edit button, and then all of this information, you can come down here and change the actual query. So you can set up what your goals are and different things like that. The recently viewed iPart is one of my favorite. It really makes things a lot easier by giving you a way to access your most current records that you have viewed. This is introduced in the 20.1.13 1540 version, and the one that's coming out soon, the .19 version, will have even more stuff. So I highly recommend at least getting this one, but we're recommending the 1.14 right now. So another nice iPart is the IQA query chart viewer, and this will take data from your system from an IQA query and turn it into a chart. So you can choose from pie charts, horizontal, bar charts, different things like that. So it's really a great way to take a look at your data and see it in a more visual format. This iPart down here is the new member iPart, and this will pull contacts who have recently made dues payments. So it's a quick and easy way to see and maybe contact your newest members by just clicking on their name, and it'll take you to their records, so you can email them or call them or send them something. So this is really the coolest thing that I really love in this new staff site, and it's the universal search. It's the easiest way to find your members and your contacts in the database. So just by typing their name into the keyword search box, a list will appear of people with that name. So here I put in Morgan, and you see all of the Morgan contacts appear. Now I just need to click on the name I'm looking for, and it'll take me straight to their record. So it's just so much easier to find people than it has been in the past. So that's not the only way. I mean, if you did want to have a search criteria to find your contacts, you can use this Find Contacts on the left bar, and it'll bring up a bunch of IQA queries. Now, these are all customizable. You could add some here. You could change this to be anything you wanted it to be. And once you run the query, you're going to get all your information down here, and you can hyperlink to that person's record. And the very cool thing about this is that, you know, if you're not familiar with the IQAs, is that once you get your data, any data that you bring up here, you can sort by it as well as export it out to different programs like Excel, which is fabulous. So I just added a little techie bit in here. I'm going to try to stay very overview and not tell you how to do things, just what it does. But for those of you that already know the RISE document system, excuse me, you would just need to add a query to this location, and it would throw it up into that query directory for you. So here's this page when you've chosen your record from either the universal search or the IQA. This is the screen that you'll be taken to. This is the standard out-of-the-box staff account page. Just like the dashboards that we saw before, this page too can be modified to fit your needs. It's made up of the dynamic content items / iParts, so you can be very creative on how this looks. But let's just take a look quickly at the out-of-the-box version. This page is made up of 2 columns of data. One column is the picture profile iPart on the left, and you'll see some buttons below it. And the bigger right-hand column has 4 tabs of data. You can add more tabs for your own purposes, and those will be protected in an upgrade. So we'll start with the About tab. By clicking on the appropriate pencil, you can edit the information in that box. And I do believe the inline editing will be coming out in a future version that will allow you just to click on the field and change the information, but that's not in this particular version I'm showing you. And you see below here you also have the addresses where you could go ahead and change any one of these as well as add one. Now we come down here on the left column, and we'll see the email button. Now this is the new communications iPart, and this will allow you to send an email to this person. Select, you could just do a free form email, or you could select a draft, a template that you have out there. Maybe it's a newsletter, maybe it's a welcome letter because they're a new member. So you can basically just send it to them. There's also other places in the system that you could actually have any query. You can get a group of people and come up with this same screen and send a templated email to that group of people as well. Right now, if you send an email, it's not going to track it that the email went out, but that is coming out soon, as well as they're actually adding some subscribe and unsubscribe options, which will be very cool. So also in the first column, we see the Renew Now button. This button will be grayed out if the person is not up for renewal, but if they are and you click it, it'll take you right to the cart to pay their dues. So, which is very, very nice. And then over here you have in the bigger column, you've got the personal details, relationships, social media, security. This is all their login information. If we come down a little bit on the next screen, we'll see that here, not only can you change the information, but you can change the information you're asking for by clicking on this little spoked wheel, I guess it is. I'm not really quite sure what they're calling that thing. But when you click in there, it'll allow you to come in and change this panel editor iPart. So it will allow you to select tables from within your iMIS system, both single and multi-instance. You can move the fields around, you can make multiple columns, as well as making them read-only. So that gives you a lot more functionality, and it's a lot easier than it is in the desktop right now. The social media iPart, very cool. This is basically what it's holding. It's holding the URL for their Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. This is probably more likely going to be filled out by the person, so this is more for their website per se. But ASI is coming out with some really cool features where you can actually allow them to sign up with their Facebook account, use their Facebook picture as their iMIS picture, and things like that. So they're really moving into the social media world with iMIS. Now over one, we were on the About tab, now we're on the Participation tab. This is where you would see things that you would normally be kept in the tabs at the bottom of your iMIS desktop view. So as well as it adds a little bit of information about communities as well. And the committees. Now in the version that's coming out, I think that they've really enhanced the committee interface, which is lacking a little bit in this version, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So here, the really cool thing, though, is the open invoices. This is by clicking on the little minus sign, you can see what was in that actual invoice. And if there's a balance due, it's going to have it there, and then you can click and you can actually pay that invoice. And if you click on Add to Cart, would put whatever invoices you have in there and put them in the integrated cart, which is new and very, very cool. And it also lets you allow your members to do that from the website, which is very cool. So when you do that and you do put something into the cart, you'll see at the top here it turns red, puts you into the on behalf of mode. So now it's saying, okay, you're going to pay Alex Morgan stuff. This is his cart. There's one thing in there, and here's this invoice that we've added. So you could throw a book in here. You could pay his dues if you owed it. You could do all of those things. So very, very cool feature. And we'll see more things that it does that's even better. The next thing are recent transactions. So these are just all of the different orders that are out there. And if you click on the little minus button, you can see more information about what's going on. But this is kind of the history. We moved over to the history tab. This is where everything that's kind of like activities was in the old system. So it's got a little bit more information. But the wonderful thing about this is that all this really is an IQA query in essence. So if you wanted to switch this around, see more information, then you could add it and put that type of information in. This is the call history log. So this is where you would add your phone calls and ticklers and such things like that. There isn't an interface like the tickler system here though that you had in the desktop version, but you could easily create a custom tab and put a query in there that only showed in activities that they were completed, or you can customize this as you see fit, so you can really make it work for you. Some more history is the billing history. So this is basically all the dues billing that they've had. Again, it's just an IQA query, so you could change that around if you liked. And then here's what we probably refer to in the old days, the call change log. And like everything else, this is just an IQA query, so if you want to see it in a different order or you want to change anything with it, you can do that as well. Now the donor tab, this, unless you have fundraising, this probably isn't something that you would need information on, but it actually has some cool information. If we go down that page, you'll see where you get some gift summary and some basic giving history. But what I love here is that it's easy to get the data out. You see, like in the regular IQA queries, you can always export data out. So it's very easy on any of these queries to grab data when you need it. And that seems to be one of the hardest things people have with iMIS, is actually getting what they need when they need it. So here's an example of what one of our clients did. You know, here are their tabs. You see they're a little bit different. We've got about, participation, the communication preferences, miscellaneous. But the really cool thing that we did for them was we created an SSRS report that that was their dues notice. So we just plopped it here on a page, put it onto this tab, so that way they could print out an invoice for the person's record that they were on. So it just pulls out that person's record and they can print the invoice from here. So it shows you the flexibility you have, because all of these tabs are really just RISE pages. So you can create anything you want to and put it out here. You could put a bunch of different dashboards out here. You could just do whatever you like. It's fabulous. Down further on the community tab, we've got committees. Like I said before, it's kind of limited in this version, but Angela Moore assures me that the version that's coming out is very, very, very cool. So she says, I'll love it. So it means you'll probably love it too. In this case, it's just showing the actual committees that are out there. And if you click on them, you'll get the detail of the people on that committee. And as you see above here, it'll actually let you edit that source query from this page. Okay, as well as export out the information if you want it. So here, down further on that community tab are the community preferences. So as you see above, I'm still in on behalf of Alex Morgan. So it's going to show me all of the communities that Alex Morgan is on. And then I could actually go into, if I click on that title, I could go into that community and manage the community from there. So that was basically, let me go back here, that was the community tab. If you look down, there's some more stuff, but it's the marketing campaigns and the segmentation. Those are all Process Manager advanced modules that if you wanted more information on those, we could tell you, we could give that to you, but those aren't out of the box type of modules. So I'm going to move on to the events module here. Just like we saw before on the community dashboard, you've got some progress tracker iParts. You've got some, instead of putting the new member list, here I can actually click and it'll take me to one of the meeting pages so I can get more information on the meetings, and it has its own dashboards as well. I really like this progress tracker even better than the membership one, because it really gives me a quick view of what's going on with my meetings overall. You know, here it's not just how much am I getting for this one particular event, but how much for all my meetings that I have out there. And just like the other one, this can be totally customized to how you want to look at it and the information that's pertinent to you. So here, like I said, we've got some different, once I click on one of those meetings and go to a particular meeting, you see we have a whole nother dashboard for the meeting. And this one's a little different because it's got a bunch of different tabs in this dashboard. So this is just for this particular meeting. This is my annual conference, so it's telling me the progress tracker for that, as well as the registrants, the type of registrants, and how many have signed up. If I come down that screen a little bit more, not only does it give me that information on the top, but it lets me print out some reports. So these here are all SSRS reports. Now, doesn't mean that you can't go still run your crystal reports from the desktop view. You can still do that, so you're not going to be losing anything, but the staff view, you can only run the SSRS reports from here. So you can add your own. Here we've got badges that they show here. I'll show you a sample of kind of what this would look like if you ran one. So if I clicked on the print badges, it'll come up, and this is basically your normal IQA SSRS report, where you can put in your parameters. So here I could do any event. Right now it's going to come up with the annual conference because that's the dashboard that I was in, whether or not you want to include guests, and it'll print out the different layouts. So you could put whatever you wanted here. You could change the IQAs to be what you would need it to be. But it just shows you how they're really starting to make, the reports where you can just click it off a button, where you're not going through all the generate reports and the different levels that you need to go through in the back office. So on the next tab, we have the Registrant tab. And this is basically just giving us all of our people that are signed up for this meeting. Like everything else, it's an IQA. You can change it if you like. And if you clicked on one of those, it would take you to their account page, like we saw before. Now this is the humdinger. This is the questions tab, which I think is fabulous because you ask all these questions and you want to know, well, how did they answer them? Well, they're telling you on this page, which is great because not only are they telling you 4 people, but 36% of the people said yes to this question. Now, if you were to click on that little plus button, it would show you all the people, those 4 people, and you could actually click to their record and go directly hyperlink from there. I do know that we tried I had a client that went to do an IQA to pull out all the answers and couldn't find the business object. And it seems that this version, the 1.1.4 version, isn't shipped with the actual business object, but we can help you add that very easily. So you can grab the information and report on it as you like. So here, this is the Showcase tab. This is where you see all the information about the actual meeting. If you wanted to register somebody from here, since I'm still on Alex's record, I could register Alex or somebody else from his company. I could click on that and register them as well. This is kind of how it works on the website as well. If you're using the online events module, it'll let Alex go ahead and register somebody from his company. But the cool thing here from a staff perspective is that it'll let you edit some information right from this screen. Now, it's not going to be all the information, but it's going to be a good amount. Some stuff you're still going to need to do in the back office. But here you can put in the different images. When does it start? What's the description? When do I want to show it in my search? Maybe I don't want anybody to be able to find it until a certain date. So this is the overall information. We see that at the top there's tabs for pricing and questions. Under the pricing page, we can add, this is where you would add your functions like you do now in the back office with all the different information that pertains to them, which I think I have a copy of. Here, where you add, when you add a function, then you're going to get all these tabs because each function can actually have questions. You can have questions for the overall meeting, and then maybe you have a golf outing that you want to maybe ask the handicap for. So you can do questions here, the different accounting, the different pricing, as well as, if they do sign up for this, should I automatically sign them up for the chairman's breakfast? This is where you would do all your linking as well. And here's the questions, kind of gives you an idea of questions you can put in there and answer types, yes, no, is it a numeric, is it a free form, text, and so on. Now, this, hands down, is probably the reason I tell people to go to the staff site, at least the meetings department, because right now in the back office, if you're putting in registrations and somebody uses a credit card, you have to go to the events module, put in the registration, save it, go into AR Cash or go into Service Central and pay it by credit card. Well, here, when you sign them up for everything, it just takes you right to the integrated cart, and you can put in their American Express, their Visa card, and boom, they're done. So if not anything else, this is, if you set up your events in the back office and do all that, you should definitely process them through the staff site. Much easier. So some of the event limitations, they're basically, special pricing, event class pricing. You can't do your room setup or your speaker setup here. Can't clone, close, or delete the meetings, and you right now can't run the confirmations from here. But like we saw before with the badges, if we created a confirmation letter that was done as an SSRS report, we could actually just throw it up there. So they still haven't gotten all the reports and stuff, but like I said, I think that even if you set it up in the back office and process through the staff site your you're ahead of the game. Okay, commerce. Here's the commerce dashboard. It's a nice way to take a look at your top selling products, how much money you're making. It's very similar to some of the other dashboards we've seen. You can add and find products from here. One of the nice features is that you can determine which items come up, when you want it to show, maybe on the web or even in the staff site in searches. Kind of limited. You're not going to be able to do your inventory. That's not what this is for. That's really kind of when we get to the admin console, that's what you're going to kind of do in the back office for now and in another place. But this is some basic information on your products. Now, this is one accounting thing that kind of popped up that I was surprised at, but this will actually allow you to set up your gateway here, which is kind of odd, but good, I guess, let you get to it. But it's really one of the only accounting functions other just pricing for items and events that I've seen. It will allow you under commerce to put in promotions, so you can do like coupons. Now, these are really, you can do it for a basic, for the entire order, or you could say, okay, this coupon or this promotion is just for this particular product, or you could say this is just for this category of products. And right now, the out of the box is just a percentage, so it's just a percentage off. You can't say $10 or anything like that. But it's a nice little simple coupon manager, which is good. Now onto the certification module. Like I said, this is new. We do have the sample I showed you for WASBO earlier. They are in the early adopter program, so we're going to be implementing them soon. So we'll have more information on that. But from what I've seen, and ASI has a great video. If you can't find it on their website, I can send it to you. If you're interested in getting into the early adopter program, it looks like a very snazzy certification program. I'm pretty impressed by what I have seen so far. And then there's Continuum. Oh, Continuum, what a name. What is Continuum, we all ask. Well, what ASI says it is a series of products and services that enable an organization to realize continuous performance improvements. Okay, then. So, basically, ASI believes that one cannot have continuous performance improvement with the strategy of just measurement. iMIS 20 provides a program of product and services to measure an organization's progress and identify areas of needed focus. So this program is what this iMIS Continuum is. It involves real-time dashboards presenting the health of your organization. It also provides a unique provision for a guided performance scorecard. This looks at your organization's key performance indicators and provides a scorecard which can compare your organization against some of the top organizations who have succeeded in performance improvement. So here's a sample of what they have in there is the guided performance scorecard, which is actually really cool, and it allows you to go in there and change, put in your industry standards, put in all the information that you have, and it will help you understand really where you stand in your organization as it is, as well as compared to others. So it's actually pretty cool. This Continuum thing is new, different, and we're all learning more about it every day. So then there's RISE, good old RISE. And basically, iMIS 20 is built on the RISE engagement platform, which allows you to easily create and personalize not only your staff site, but your member self-service, community, and mobile web pages with no programming necessary. So this is really where all the heavy work is done to make iMIS function and determine how iMIS looks. So I don't know if you saw before, I don't know if I even pointed it out. I don't think I did, but in that WASBO, when I showed you their dues invoice, I don't know if you noticed, but at the top they had a tab here that said WASBO queries. So they added, because this is in RISE and you can pretty much determine what you want it to look like, for instance, if you had fundraising here and you didn't want to see it, we could just take it off of the tab. They added one so they could quickly click and they would get all of their personalized IQAs that they had created. And RISE allows you to do that. And there's the admin console. So this is soon to be called the accounting admin console. And this is where you would come to do all things that are not available on the staff site yet, but it's still in a browser-based format. So if you wanted to access the old iMIS, you can change this to display the old desktop. So you wouldn't see this. You could actually have it go to old iMIS. But this is where you're going to come and you're going to set up your batches and change member types if you needed to, and do all of that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, this will be used for only accounting type stuff, and everything else is planned to be put into the actual staff view, staff site when it's done. So here we're at the questions. I hope I didn't go too far over the mark. I talked fast.
I think we're right there, Christine, right at about 30 minutes, and we do have a few questions for you, so let's go ahead and jump right into those. One question, when do you think the old iMIS desktop view will go away so that everything can be done through the web-based staff site?
That is a very good question, and ASI has not given us any indication, but if I look at kind of what comes out in every release, as they come, I think it's going to be a while. But really, what they're really focusing is getting all of the things that the users that are processing things, not people that are setting things up, but people that are processing information and gathering information can use the staff site. So it'll probably be a little bit of a while before the actual basic setup is transferred into the staff site.
Okay, great. Quick question, can we use staff view, I'm assuming staff site, and back office simultaneously?
Yes. I do it a lot. I keep them in separate browsers.
That was an easy answer, a quick answer, yes.
Yes.
All right. Let's see, we have another question here. Why would admin console not be showing on our staff site, their version 20.1? And my guess is Michael, we can follow up with you on that, gain a little bit more information. Any of the questions we receive, we can follow up with those people. But I don't know if there's enough information for you there to answer that.
Well, yeah, and I do know that we have one client that we're upgrading to 20.1. I think they're on 20.0 point something, and it does not work on that version. So I do know that at least in 20.1.1.4, the admin console has been put on. So it might just be that you're just not quite at the right version yet.
Okay, so we can, if you, again, I mean, feel free to contact us directly and we can troubleshoot that a little further. Another question here, if you change a standard IQA query used for display on a page, will your changes be overwritten on an upgrade? Good question.
It's a great question. Yes, if you don't change the name. So what we, and I didn't get a lot into how we do a lot of this stuff, but anytime you change anything in here, most of the time it'll make you save as. So it won't let you change a default out of the box query. So what it'll do is you'll change it, you'll save it as your own, and then when you upgrade it won't be touched, but you'll need to go to that old page to see if anything cool has been added that you might want to use. But your stuff will stay there.
Okay, great. And I know you spoke a little bit on Crystal Reports. We have a question. Can Crystal Reports be used on the web right now? And if not, is ASI planning to add this feature?
They will not. You cannot, and they will not. They will not be.
Okay.
Everything is, yeah. They're moving away from the Crystal Reports, and so nothing new will be created there. Everything new will be created in SSRS, which can be deployed from the web.
Great. That was going to be my follow-up question. Yes. Thanks, Christine. All right. With the discontinuation of the iMIS desktop, how will rapid data entry be accomplished?
Well, there are different ways that you can set up these screens, and I know there's a bunch of third-party products as well as just out of the box where you can create screens that will allow you to very easily set up the forms even faster than what you're doing now in the back office, in my opinion.
All right. And it looks like we maybe have one more question here. What features, and I know you touched on this, what features are available in the staff site that aren't in back office and vice versa? And I know you went through that, so the webinar recording will be online for those of you who maybe jumped in late or didn't see anything.
Okay.
Any other questions? It looks like we've had a great response and some great questions today. As I mentioned, this recording and the PowerPoint slides will be available on www.atsol.org/webinar. We also welcome input and suggestions for other topics. All of our webinars are presented based upon or developed based upon feedback from you. So if there are other topics that you would like, Christine or any of the other ATS staff to address, we appreciate and welcome your feedback. Also, if you develop and present webinars yourself, ATS has the GoToWebinar bridge, which we use today, that integrates with iMIS, and we'd be happy to share some of that information with you. If there aren't any other...
I did want to add something. I wanted to add something real quick. I did have one more slide. If anybody's planning on coming to the NIOG Discovery Conference in Baltimore, I will be teaching the class that they have on Monday. It's a half day. We kind of put in a RISE basics because really kind of need to know RISE to work within the staff site. So it's a double header there. So if you're interested, I will be teaching that class in Baltimore. I just wanted to point that out to you guys.
That's great. And we do have an upcoming webinar on what's an iPart and why do I need one. So check that out. Isaac Oliveris, one of our iPart experts here at ATS, will be presenting then. If that's all the questions, we'll go ahead and close this, and we'll publish the recording and PowerPoints here shortly. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.